Inheritance. Tell me, what do you think the word inheritance means? It means, the, in general English, it means the transfer of qualities from one generation to another. Right? If someone has gray eyes or a long hairs, then we say, so does his parents have, right? So this is nothing but inheritance, getting the qualities or a lookalike structure like your parents. So today's agenda is what is inheritance? We will be discussing what is inheritance, then why, what is the need of inheritance, why do we need it in programming. Again, we will understand the working, then we will be discussing the types of inheritance, and then we will have a program. I will show you a small live code how to program using one of the type of inheritance. Okay, so now first, what is inheritance? It is a capability of one class to derive or inherit the properties from another class. Now, in object-oriented programming, we have classes and objects. So now, if one class is acquiring the properties of another class, like in our day-to-day behavior, if a human is acquiring a property of the parents, qualities of a parent, we call it inheritance. So in object-oriented programming, the class is inheriting the qualities of the upper class or a superclass. We call it inheritance. Let's see an example. There is a class vehicle. Now, vehicle has a subclasses as bus, car, and truck. Now, the superclass or a parent class is vehicle, and the subclass or the child class is bus, car, and truck. Okay, and you can see why do we group them in one category, vehicle? Because they all have common feature. They all belong to automobile industry. Then again, they have engine capacity, the number of people who can sit, then brake function, accelerator function, the capacity of petrol tank. They all have it in common, right? So what we can do, now let's take an example of apply brakes function. What it will do, on running that function, it should the vehicle should apply a brake. Think that we are doing a programming for a vehicle, and on using the function apply brake, the vehicle should apply a brake. Clear? So applying a brake function is common for all the three vehicles or n number of vehicles. Apply brake is common, they all will apply brake, right? So what we can do is we can keep that function in our main vehicle class, and the subclasses can use that function. Now, instead of writing the same apply brake function in three classes, that is bus, car, and truck, I will be writing that function in class vehicle. And the objects of my class, bus, car, and truck, will be able to use that function apply brakes. Clear? Thus, in this way, we will be going to implement inheritance. Time being, just remember that you have a superclass, vehicle, and three subclasses, bus, car, and truck. These subclasses can use the function of superclass. The way, the very good example is the way you have access to your parents' things, like your parent mobile, you can access, right? So if you have got your own mobile, so now it is like you can have access to your parents' mobile also, and you have access to your mobile also, right? Similarly, the classes, the subclasses, the child class will have access to their functions, their variables also, along with the variables and functions of parent class. Now, let's see what is the need of inheritance. First, the very important thing, it shows the relationship it is very closely related to your real world. It establishes the relationships very well. Second use is reusability of code. Instead of writing the same code again, for example, we have seen apply brakes or start acceleration code. Suppose if we are writing for any vehicle, so it will be same that you have to accelerate the vehicle so that it should go into the moving phase. So instead of writing the same function for each vehicle again and again, we will include that function in parent class. Thus, code redundancy. And the third advantage is transitive in nature. We can use that function, a parent class function can be used by child class function. And again, the same function can be used by the child class, which is a child of the child class. So I will call it a grandchild. The grandchild can also use the function of parent class and a child class. So it's a transitive. You are transferring the properties or the code or the functions. Now, let's understand the working of inheritance. So we have something called as parent class, and the three classes are derived from the parent class. Those classes are child 1, child 2, and child 3. As you can see on my screen, child 1, child 2, and child 3. Now, the parent class has its own variables and methods or functions. Again, each child class has its own set of variables and functions. So now, okay, tell me, how do we access this method or a variable in OOPS? By creating an object. Very good. So now, if I'm going to create an object of this child class, that object will be able to access the variables and method of this class along this class, child class 1, along with the variables and methods of parent class. Clear? Yeah. Parent class object will not be able to access variables and methods of child class, but the child class function or the child class object will be able to access the variables and functions of parent class along with its own variable and functions. Clear? So now here you can see below I have written the object of child class will be able to access the variables of child class, variables of parent class, the method, the functions of class child class, and also the method or the functions of parent class. Similarly for class 2 object and class 3 object. Clear? Yeah, remember once again, parent class object will not be able to access variables and methods of child class. Okay, now we have different types of inheritance. There are some different types, like first one is single inheritance, then you have got multiple, hybrid, multi-level, and hierarchical. These are the different ways in which the child can inherit the properties or the functions from the parent class. Right? Let's see what do you mean by these different types of inheritance. Yeah. First, see single inheritance. Single inheritance. Now here the parent is class A and the child is class B. So the child class B is able to inherit the functions or the properties of class A. Okay, so it is single inheritance. Single means 1 to 1. One parent, one child. Okay. Now, second one is multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance, there are several levels and the properties or functions of the base class is getting inherited by the child class, and then again the grandchild class, and so on. So now A is the parent class, B is the child class, and C I will call it as grandchild class. So now is inheriting the properties of functions and variables of class A, and C is inheriting of class B also and class A also. Clear? Similarly, we have multiple inheritance. In multiple inheritance, there are multiple parents. As the name indicates, multiple. So C is the child class. There are two parents, A and B, and child class C can have access to the functions of parent class A as well as B. Functions and variables, both, of course. Sorry. Now, the next one is hybrid or hierarchical. Hierarchical means single parent and multiple children. So B, C, and D all are the children classes or child classes, and B, C, and D can access the functions of class A. We have something called as hybrid. Hybrid is a mix of multiple and multi-level. Now see here, class B is inherited from class A and class C is the individual class. It is not inherited from anywhere. Class D is inherited from B and C. So now class D will have the function access to functions and properties of class A as well as B and C. Right? A through B and C is the independent class. Clear? Then something called as multipath inheritance. It is again the fusion of multiple and hierarchical. Now two children are there, B and D derived from class A, and C is again derived from B and D. So now C in turn will have access to the characteristics of B, D and A. Right? So these are the different types of inheritance which we can implement using object-oriented programming code. So first, let's see single inheritance. Now, I have written a small program. It consists of my parent class and a child class. The program is implemented using a single inheritance. So there is only one parent. As you can see, class parent. Right? Then we have function. I have defined one function and a simple print statement. Similarly, a child inheriting from the parent, a function, and again a next print statement. Okay. Now let's see, using our live code, how can we access it? Okay. So I'm going to my coding window. Give me a second. Yeah. So here we are. Let me erase it. Okay. So now let's write a simple program to implement a single type of inheritance. Okay. Let's write. First, I will be writing a base class. Okay. Let my class name be parent. Let me write a function. The way of writing function, as you are already aware, def function name, let it be func1, and variable self I'm transferring in it. Okay, let's have a print statement. Print, let me print, this is a parent class function. Okay, parent class function. Yeah. Okay, so again, the same way, let me write a derived class also. Sorry, hash derived class code I will be writing. So class derive. Now pay attention here. I'm writing parent. It means derived class is the child class, or let's mention the name child better. It means the child class is the derived class from the parent class. Clear? It is derived from parent using inheritance. Okay, so let's write again one more function, def func2. Same way, let's write a variable self, and again a simple print statement stating that we are in class child class. This is child class function. Okay, let me put a tab here so it looks more organized. Okay, now final, we have created a parent class, a child class, and now we will be creating an object of a child class. Okay, so let my object name be OB. I'm creating an object of child class. So child, right? Now creating an object of child class. OB is the object created using object. I will be calling function1, which is in parent class, and then I will be calling function2, which is in child class. Okay, so OB is my object using object of definitely a child class. So using OB, again, C should be capital. Okay. Okay. So now using uh, the object of the child class, I'm calling func1, function1, function of parent class, and func2, the function of child class. Let's execute it and see the output. Okay, it's executing. It says invalid syntax. Okay, class parent. It should be able to execute it. Where is it showing error? The function self print class parent. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let me see this. Okay, the same thing I'm writing again. Let's see whether it works. Yeah, there might have done some mistake. I'm not getting it. Okay, So now the output is function is in a parent class and this function is in a child class. So using this object which we have created of child class, we are first create we are first access the function of parent class. So we are getting an output. This is a function in a parent class, and then again we have used func2. So we are getting an output. This is a function in a child class, right? So this was the way of doing single inheritance. Okay, so inheritance. That's it for today. See you in the next class. Thank you.